I'll be honest, I might be a little biased when it comes to this film, but I'll explain right after this clip.
Since time began, man has gazed at the stars and he has wondered, am I alone? So much talk of AI and big tech today. Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like? When will we get there? Well, folks, we're not going there. They are coming here.
Alright, so Tron Ares, this is the latest trip back into the digital world as we all know it as the grid. Now, this film is a bit of an exception because we actually spend more time in the real world than the grid. A lot of this film happens in the real world because in this version, essentially, we've got these two big tech giants that sound familiar to those who know the series. One is Dillinger Enterprises, which is run by the heirs of Ed Dillinger. This is the Ed Dillinger from the 1982 film. And then we have Encom Corporation, which we know that this time around, it used to be the villain corporation, but this time is the more, noble out of the two. And the main villain here is Julian Dillinger, who has somehow he's figured out how to literally laser print his computer programs into the real world, which means he can bring his digital warriors and defense programs to life. So one of these programs is Ares, played very subdued by Jared Leto. He's basically the master control, he's called his job description, and he's essentially responsible for keeping the order inside the grid, but at the same time he's protecting Dillinger's company networks and servers. But here's the catch: so he can print these machines and these super powerful soldiers, bring them into reality, but they can only survive in this world for about 29 minutes. So essentially the premise of the film is that both Dillinger and Eve Kim, who's the CEO of Encom, and it's actually played very nicely by Greta Lee, I'm beginning to be a big fan of hers, so they're racing to find this so-called permanence code, which would allow them to create these digital life forms and bring them to live permanently among us, hence changing the world. It's a pretty cool idea, I believe, to be honest. I really enjoy that context. Obviously it goes a bit out of control from there. But I found this setup really interesting because it somehow mirrors real life, to be honest. You got essentially two massive corporations and their CEOs deciding or having the power to change the world. So that feels uncomfortably familiar with today's world, isn't it? So now the film itself, I actually liked it quite a bit, but that's just because it's the 1982 film is one of my favorite sci-fi films from when I was a kid. But the story doesn't go too deep. This story doesn't go too deep into philosophical debates. But the design, the visuals, the action, they're really, really good. Really carry the film. And Ares himself, has a surprisingly emotional arc. This program that Jared Leto plays, he's literally told he's expendable, and he begins to notice these strange gaps in his code that he equates them to feelings, and he slowly becomes curious about humans and about the existence himself. It's a nice touch, and I like the fact that Jared Leto doesn't go too crazy with the acting like he does in Suicide Squad. He's much more calm, and sometimes his interaction with Eve later down in the film, they're pretty humorous, to be honest. I really enjoy that. So it's not nothing outlandish here from him. But the action sequences are on another level. This is the big win. Of course, they're going to be flashy because of the world we are in, this grid in and outside. They're all neon lights and flashy and everything, but it's not chaotic. It's not chaotic. It's not hard to follow. It's not like dizzying effects like in the Transformers. It reminds me of when you couldn't even keep up with the action. So this is very well edited here. So it's slick, it's clean. There's good industrial rock from Nine Inch Nails which I really like. You know, it's loud, it's cool, it's very much like a Tron film. And there's plenty of callbacks too. We even revisit parts of the original 1982 grid, which gave me a bit of nostalgia, obviously. You know, the first Tron was one of my childhood sci-fi favorites, so that's why those moments felt really special to me. So yeah, overall I think this film is a solid watch. It's predictable in places, and sometimes things don't really make sense, but it's entertaining and stylish, and it even manages to ask some smart questions about control and AI and how quickly everything can spiral out of control. So is it worth the ticket price? Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a fun weekend film. So yeah, go watch it, and we'll see you next time.